Good morning and welcome to the Sunday service for St Alphege Seasalter. My name is Paulette Stubbings and I am the vicar here. We are a church made up of 5 congregations normally, and 3 of those come through the door on a Sunday morning. And another congregation, our youth congregation, meets in the evening on a Sunday. And we also have a faithful congregation up at the old church in Seasalter. So what you see in our service here is a kind of mashup of all these different congregations and the voices from them, putting together these contributions that make this our service. So you are very warmly welcome here, whether you are a long-time member of St Alphege Seasalter, whether you were only coming for a little while before our lockdown service, or whether you have joined us during these times. Please make this online space your home as well. And know that although our church building is shut at the moment, we are looking forward to a time when we can open it and gather again in safety and worship God together. But for now, this is how we're meeting and online in the week. So if you want to get in touch with us, you can via our website, and it would be lovely to hear from you as well. So we are working out what it means to be church now, and what it's going to mean to be church as the unlocking happens and as we return to some kind of normality, but we know that things will feel a little different. So do join us as we make that journey. We don't have all the answers, but we do enjoy journeying together in Christ and finding out along the way. And we look after each other as we journey, and we try and look after our community as well. So that's what we're about. Welcome. Let us begin by saying these opening sentences together, and you will find the words at the bottom of your screen. As we wait in silence, fill us with your Spirit. As we listen to your word, fill us with your Spirit. As we worship you in majesty, fill us with your Spirit. As we long for your refreshing, fill us with your Spirit. As we long for your renewing, fill us with your Spirit. As we long for your equipping, fill us with your Spirit. As we long for your empowering, fill us with your Spirit. Let's sing. Hello, church.
Hello.
Love is mighty.
surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies till all my fears are gone. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. From my mother's womb, you have chosen me. Love has called my name. I've been born again into your family. Your blood flows through my veins. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. You split the sea so I could walk right through it. My fears were drowned in perfect love. You rescued me so I could stand and sing. I am a child of God. You split the sea so I could walk right through it. My fears were drowned in perfect love. You rescued me so I could stand and sing. I am a child of God. I am a child of God.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We are sure that we, like you, have need to say sorry to God for our behaviour, speech, and the thoughts that are not pleasing to Him. We need to say sorry for things we have left undone or unsaid. Things we have done or said that may have added anxiety to other people, especially during this pandemic. For when we have not shown patience, kindness, or tolerance. For the thoughts we should not have had. For our God is an all-knowing God, from whom nothing is hidden. So let us spend a few moments in prayer, acknowledging our personal regrets, and then come to confession.
You raise the dead to life in the Spirit. Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. You bring pardon and peace to the broken in heart. Christ, have mercy. Christ, have mercy. You make one by your Spirit the torn and divided. Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. May God forgive us by the death of his Son and strengthen us to live in the power of the Spirit all our days. Amen.
Good morning, Church. Today's first reading is from Romans chapter 8, verses 12 to 25. Therefore, brothers, we have an obligation, but it is not to the sinful nature to live according to it. For if you live according to the sinful nature, you will die. But if by the Spirit you put to death the misdeeds of the body, you will live. Because those who are led by the Spirit of God are sons of God. For you did not receive a spirit that makes you a slave again to fear, but you received the Spirit of sonship. And by him we cry, Abba, Father. The Spirit himself testifies with our spirit that we are God's children. Now if we are children, then we are heirs, heirs of God and co-heirs with Christ, if indeed we share in his sufferings, in order that we may also share in his glory. I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. The creation waits in eager expectation for the sons of God to be revealed. For the creation was subjected to frustration, not by its own choice, but by the will of one who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself will be liberated from its bondage to decay and brought into the glorious freedom of the children of God. We know that the whole creation has been groaning, as in the pains of childbirth, right up to the present time. Not only so, but we ourselves, who have the first fruits of the Spirit, groan inwardly as we wait eagerly for our adoption as sons, the redemption of our bodies. For in this hope we are saved. But hope that is seen is no hope at all. Who hopes for what he already has? But if we hope for what we do not yet have, we wait for it patiently.
Today's Gospel reading is from the book of Matthew, chapter 13, and is in two parts, verses 24 to 30 and verses 36 to 43. Jesus told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field, but while everyone was sleeping, his enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat and went away. When the wheat sprouted and formed heads, then the weeds also appeared. The owner's servants came to him and said, Sir, don't you sow good seed in your field? Where then did the weeds come from? An enemy did this, he replied. The servant asked him, Do you want us to go and pull them up? No, he answered, because while you are pulling the weeds, you may root up the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. At that time I will tell the harvesters, First collect the weeds and tie them in bundles to be burned. Then gather the wheat and bring it into my barn. From verse 36. Then he left the crowd and went into the house. His disciples came to him and said, Explain to us the parable of the weeds in the field. He answered, The one who sowed the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed stands for the sons of the kingdom. The weeds are the sons of the evil one, and the enemy who sows them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the harvesters are angels. As the weeds are pulled up and burned in the fire, so it will be at the end of the age. The Son of Man will send out his angels, and they will weed out of his kingdom everything that causes sin and all who do evil. They will throw them into the fiery furnace, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. He who has ears, let him hear.
Morning, everyone. It's great to be part of the service this morning. In our reading this morning, Paul talks about some of the suffering and some of the difficult things in the world, which I imagine that we've all experienced to some degree or another over the last few months. Paul talks about the world groaning as in the pains of childbirth. I don't know about you, but this passage, which is almost 2,000 years old, description of a hurting world feels very relevant today. Our experiences of COVID might have been very different, but for each of us is probably punctuated by many moments of uncertainty, helplessness, fear, sadness, perhaps even disillusion, guilt, doubt, loneliness or loss. And we now feel growing tensions when we look at the news between powerful nations, while we also all have an awareness of the effects of global warming and plastic pollution in our wonderful, precious, God-given world that perhaps we've learnt to appreciate and listen to a little bit more during lockdown. Our groaning world. It's quite easy to let these problems and feelings build up in our minds to the point where they form a shadow over everything and drown out our hope and our faith. These big world problems can leave us feeling vulnerable and inadequate. Our faith can seem small and even broken. But Paul's message has a whole lot more hope to it than that. He says that we are sons of God. You did not receive a spirit which makes you a slave again to fear, but a spirit of sonship. We are God's children. In fact, the language that Paul uses is as adopted children, heirs of the kingdom. The parable of the weeds and the sower that we've heard from Matthew talks about how the sower refused to pick the weeds before the time of the harvest because he wanted to make sure that even the weakest, smallest crops on the fringes were saved and protected. He didn't want any crops to be lost and plucked by mistake and thrown into the fire. And those crops, they're us. God loves and cares for us. And although there is harm and evil at work in this world, he will protect and nurture even the weakest of his children. But being a follower of God, an heir of the kingdom, comes with great privilege and great responsibility. Privilege as we can feel the guidance of the Holy Spirit in the present, but also because we know that there's a future in God's kingdom where all will one day be made right. But there's a responsibility because as adopted members of the family, we have a part to play. Being a follower of God, as an heir of the kingdom, comes with great privilege and great responsibility. Privilege as we can feel the guidance of the Holy Spirit in the present and the hope of eternal life in the future of God's kingdom where all will eventually be made right. Responsibility as adopted members of the family and heirs of the kingdom. We have to stand up and take our place in God's story, living as God would and as Jesus did. Sharing our hope and our love with all, our friends and family, but also our wider communities, and perhaps even people who we find a whole lot harder and maybe unattractive to spend our time with. As Paul also points out, Jesus' life was not free of suffering. He wept when his friend Lazarus died, and he himself faced false accusations, torture and ultimately death, so that we could see the full extent of God's love for us in the resurrection. He paved the way so that we could have a personal relationship with God and know something of his passion and love for us. As fellow heirs, adopted members of the family, we should expect to face suffering. but know that we are sharing the responsibility with Jesus himself and continuing the work of sharing his sacrificial love and his joy in life's beautiful places, but also where life can feel bleak and hard. So, how do we live as heirs of the kingdom in 2020? Probably a year that's going to go down in history as a pretty tough one. As I sat here writing this sermon, I couldn't help but really think that the Holy Spirit is at work at the moment, nudging some of us to go deeper and further, maybe to do more. I really sense that at this time of change and uncertainty, God is calling his church to mobilise and step out to show his love and make a difference in the broken world around us. Recently, I've been particularly inspired by my daughter Hannah, who has been working through various brownie badges through lockdown, and towards the end of lockdown announced that she wanted to do her brownie fundraising badge. She announced that she wanted to make jam, and perhaps quite surprisingly even to me, she announced that she wanted to raise money for people who live in tents in Africa. Now, this has come about because she's been learning about Africa at school, and I know that it really affected her when a friend of mine wrote a little bit about how some places in Africa there's quite a lot of inequality, and that some people are quite wealthy, but some people have had to escape from pain and problems and have to live in tents. And Hannah had kind of realised that with COVID that was going to make life for these people even harder. And that was before it really got in the news about it that we've seen in the last few weeks. So Hannah's set about taking me with her to go and pick fruit and make jam, and she's raised nearly £50, all by herself really, a 7-year-old, selling jam that she's made with a bit of help. During all of this, I messaged my friend who lives in the Democratic Republic of Congo, who has sent Hannah this information in the past, to find out about charities that we could donate the money to. Kathleen's response was, "It's hard to explain how perfectly timed your message was. This has been my hardest week to date. Being apart from loved ones, of course, but questioning whether I'm doing anything worthwhile. Knowing that Hannah is thinking of people in need, so far away and so far removed despite the huge difficulties closer to home, is both a joy and humbling." This was all initiated by Hannah, not me. Throughout his ministry, Jesus calls us to be like little children. When I was caught up in the needs here, my own problems, my own community, my own job, my own stresses as a parent, my 7-year-old daughter opened my eyes to a much wider need. Well, what can any of us do? Pray. Ask the Spirit to lead us where he wants us to go. And I've kind of find myself following Hannah into raising money and contacting friends who live and work in tough places. I wonder what God is calling you to do today. Whoever we are and wherever we are called to go, God's Spirit is with us. Suffering is sadly a reality which we as Christians are not immune to. But we do know that there is nothing that we can face that God doesn't know about and that Jesus hasn't felt the full weight of. Let's just take a moment to be still and reflect and come to God as the broken, vulnerable people that we are, but trying to be honest and open to God. Let's just listen and step outside of our own limitations, our own fear and our own vulnerability. What is God saying? Where is God leading us? if you're feeling nudged in any way, then do take some time to pray about it and maybe talk to someone that you trust. I just want to finish with a more joyful passage that Paul wrote in a letter to the persecuted church in Philippi at a time when he was facing suffering and in prison. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say it, rejoice. Let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, with prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard you, your hearts and your minds in Jesus Christ. Amen.
Let us declare our faith in God. Do you believe and trust in God the Father, source of all being and life, the one for whom we exist? I believe and trust in him. Do you believe and trust in God the Son, who took our human nature, died for us, and rose again? I believe and trust in him. Do you believe and trust in God the Holy Spirit, who gives life to the people of God and makes Christ known to the world? I believe and trust in him. This is the faith of the Church. This is our faith. We believe and trust in one God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Hello, Church, from my garden in France. I am so happy to be back here. It makes me realise how lucky I am for all the opportunities to enjoy myself God has provided. Thank you, God, for giving me the chance to take this holiday in France, to relax and take a break. Thank you for all the opportunities you give us to take a break from work, school, and our routine. God, I pray for those who don't get the chance to take a break, those that have no choice but are forced to work long days, no days off, those that are enslaved with no opportunity for a holiday. Give them the strength to endure and change their lives for the better, with time for rest, recuperation, and relaxation. And God, I pray for those who have no work, no opportunity to go to school. Lord, give them hope and the chance to educate themselves and provide for themselves and for their families. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer. God, I thank you for the opportunity I have to treat myself, to enjoy a spot of indulgence, an ice cream, an evening or even an afternoon glass of wine, and a pain au chocolat for breakfast. God, I pray for those who don't have the chance of a treat, whose circumstances don't allow it. Give them the opportunity to treat themselves and their family. Give them hope of better times to come and the courage to endure the present. And God, I pray for courage for me to give away some of my good fortune for the benefit of those who need a chance, who need a treat and a break from their hardship. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer. And God, I thank you for the sunshine, to be able to sit in my garden in the warmth. God, I pray for those that are cold or cannot get out to feel and see the sun. Let them feel your warmth and know the freedom you give. Lord, I pray for those who have no shelter from the sun and seek shade and coolness. Lord, I pray you would provide that shelter and the cooling breeze and the water they need. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer. God, I pray that you would give everyone the good fortune you have given me, the opportunity to holiday, to treat themselves and their families, and the time to enjoy the warmth of your world. Merciful Father, accept these prayers for the sake of your Son, our Saviour, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Let us say and sign the Lord's Prayer together. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come. Your will be done. On earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our sins, as we forgive those who sin against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For the kingdom, the power, and the glory are yours now and forever. Amen.
Hello everyone, I hope that you're well. I've just got some reminders for you for this week. The first is just to say that we're now able to offer private prayer at the Christian Centre. So if you'd like to spend some time in prayer, then please book an appointment with Becky in the office. You cannot just turn up and be allowed into the building. It is by appointment only. The second thing is just to say that we are still running car park chat. So if you would like to pop down and have a chat with somebody on a very informal basis, then please do so. There will be somebody at the front of the Christian Centre between 9 and 11 o'clock Monday to Friday in the week. If the weather is a bit murky and you just want to check with Becky that there is somebody there, then please do give her a ring. The third thing is just to say thank you to all those of you who have brought your stewardship envelopes into the Christian Centre. We'd be grateful if you would continue to do so as and when is convenient for you. But if you've been unable to get your envelopes to us or it becomes a problem for you, then please do not hesitate to contact either Andrew or myself, and we can arrange for these to be collected safely from you. That's all I've got to say for this week, but just to confirm that other than the items that I've mentioned, the Seasalter Christian Centre building does remain closed. So I hope you have a good week and stay safe.
Some nice news for our church family now. You will probably know Anne Price if you've been a member of this church for any length of time. Anne is one of our congregation at St Alphege Seasalter. Anne has been through a discernment process for reader ministry recently, and she's been accepted for training, which is very exciting for her and for us. So a reader is somebody who is formally trained and formally licensed within the Church of England framework. They remain a lay minister, but they are authorised by the bishop to undertake certain functions within the church. So that's an exciting thing for Anne and for us. And we're looking forward to supporting you as you begin your training and your work among us and across the Whitstable team. Congratulations on that. I also want to reach out at this point to anybody who's been watching these videos who maybe is new to the idea of the Christian faith. And I wondered whether there is anybody who would like to explore in more depth, and if you'd like to do so with us. And if that is you, then why not drop me an email at seasaltervicar@gmail.com, all one word, seasaltervicar@gmail.com. And I'd be very interested to talk about setting something up, perhaps online, with you to do that. Let's sing.
Let the King of my heart be the shadow where I hide, the ransom for my life. Oh, he is my song. You are good, good. Whoa, 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 let the King of my heart be the wind inside my sails, the anchor in the waves. Oh, he is my song. Let the King of my heart be the fire inside of my veins, the echo of my days. Oh, he is my song. You're never gonna last, you're never gonna let me down. 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 You are good, good. Whoa, you are good, good. Whoa, you are good, good. Whoa, you are good, good. Whoa.
Christ is the world's true light, its captain of salvation.
Christ is the world's true light, its captain of salvation. The days are clear and bright, desire
hope you've enjoyed being with us for this service this morning. Thank you to all who have contributed and to Tom for putting it all together. We'll keep in touch with you about what's happening with the gradual opening up of the building for community things and eventually for worship when it's safe for us to do so. For now, let's go and carry on living out our lives as followers of Jesus, encouraging one another, praying for one another, and for our community and our nation and our world at this time of great challenge and change. We are children of God, adopted through Christ, and we are led by the Spirit. Let's finish our service by sharing in these sentences together. Let us bless the Lord. Thanks be to God. Blessing and honour and glory be yours, here and everywhere, now and forever. Amen.
Good morning. Today is July the 26th and it's really lovely to have you with me. So my name's Lise Jennings and I am one of the children's ministers at St Alphege Seasalter Christian Centre, and I'm really pleased that you are joining me. So we normally have several services. One service we have is it's called Lighthouse, and we have children and families that come to that one, but we also do Sunday school during our main service, and this is kind of replacing that at the moment as we're not able to meet. So you are really welcome. The first thing I need to tell you is what you will need. You need a paper plate or a large piece of card. You're going to need scissors and pens and 2 lolly sticks. So Katie, you'll be pleased you can use some more of the lollies that you accidentally ordered too many on your food shop. You will need glue and, of course, important, your Bible, the most important thing. So let's pray. Father God, thank you that we can be with you today. Thank you that you are with us. Thank you that we can learn about you, and I pray you will deepen our relationship with you. Amen. So, what is our Bible verse today? It is from Colossians. So it's really nearly at the end of the Bible, and it's in the New Testament. So it has Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts, Romans, Corinthians 1 and 2. Then it's Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, and then Colossians. So it's a very small book, only a few pages, so don't miss it. Okay, so it's Colossians 2, verses 6 and 7. Now I'm going to read it from the New Living Translation, so you can either read along with me or you can listen. So Colossians 2, verse 6 to 7. And now, just as you accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord, you must continue to follow him. Let your roots grow down into him and let your lives be built on him. Then your faith will grow strong in truth that you were taught, and you will overflow with thankfulness. I'm going to read that again because I think it's really important. And now, just as you accepted Christ Jesus as your Lord, you must continue to follow him. Let your roots grow down into him and let your lives be built on him. Then your faith will grow strong in the truth you were taught, and you will overflow with thankfulness. There's so much in those verses. So much. Now I want us to think about roots. Okay, because if, as that Bible verse says, if we believe in God and we know God and we love God, we need to grow strong roots. Now I want to show you this tree. Okay, there's a picture here of a tree. Now can you see how tall that tree is? So the roots are as deep as the tree is tall, and they are as wide as the roots are as wide as the tree is wide. So they're enormous and they go down really deeply. And the reason for that is so that when storms come, the tree can stand firm and not be blown over. But also roots help us they draw up the water and the nutrients from the soil, so they feed the tree and they grow the tree. Now, I I want to show you something now, so please don't judge me on this, okay, because I don't have green fingers, okay. I'm not very good with plants. I know some of you are. I know, Philip, you quite like plants and you're good with plants, but I'm not, okay. Animals I'm fine with, but plants I'm not. So can you see my peace lily here? Okay, now I haven't really taken very good care of it and it tends to fall over, so actually it needs repotting. So the roots haven't been able to grow deep enough because I haven't looked after it well enough. And that's kind of what this verse is saying. We need to grow our roots down deep, okay, so that when troubles come, and believe me they do, we can be firm and strong in the things that we have learned about God from the Bible. So how do we grow strong roots? Well, I remember, and I wonder if quite a lot of the people in church might remember, when we were younger, we used to sing a song that said, read your Bible and pray every day if you follow him. So I wonder when the last time you maybe read your Bible or prayed. It's so important to do that every single day so that we can know and love God. But what else can we do to grow our roots? Well, we can ask questions. When we don't quite know something, or understand something, we can ask people. We can send a message to the vicar. Sorry, Paulette, but we can. We can message her and say, I don't quite understand this. Can you help me? Or Donald. There are lots of people in our church or around you that will be able to answer questions that you might have. Spending time with other Christians is also a good one to do. But we need to follow God's commands, and that's a really important part of knowing God and loving God, because we follow his commands. And that means that we change our behaviour. So we talked last time about fruits of the Spirit, and it's those kind of things that we change. The love, the joy, the peace, we want those in our lives. So do you want to see your craft today? Here it is. Are you ready? Can you see? Look. The rain and the tree is growing, so that when the wind comes, it's not going to blow over, it's going to stand firm. So you are going to, let me take the tree out first because that might be easier. Can you see I've cut an incision in there? Okay, I haven't cut anything out, but I've made a line, cut a line across there. And I've coloured this bit with the mud and the roots. And then I've got a rainbow and clouds and some rain, because that is what the tree needs to grow really big and strong. I wonder if you can do yours. I've glued 2 lolly sticks there. Can you see? And I've had to glue them onto paper, and I've cut card and I've coloured that as the lolly stick. Now, if you don't have green paper, you can just use white card and colour it. But I would love to see some of what you've made, so please do post it on Facebook, because I'd really like to see some of the things that you're doing, and I could still do with some more pictures on my wall. So would you like to see your challenges? I want you to think, if you are a tree, imagine that you are the tree, how deep and big do your roots need to be? How deep do you need to grow them? So you could Bible journal to Colossians 2, verses 6 to 7. I want you to think about reading your Bible every day this week and praying every day. So you might do it at bedtime, or you might do it in the morning. I wonder if you could perhaps grow a seed, a plant from a seed, and watch it grow and see those roots develop. And I wonder, if you're really into cars, have a look and search up the Nissan Leaf and see why that's important for our environment. What is it that is special about it? God bless. Look after yourselves. I'm going to say goodbye now, but remember, God isn't saying goodbye, because he is always with you. Stay safe. Lots of love. Bye-bye.